And speaking of culture wars, guess what? Here's our regular Tuesday segment on just that. In fact, we've been fighting culture wars every week for, what is it now? How many years has this show been on? Well, this week there's something strange going on that I want to raise. I'm not sure I understand it completely. You may have seen on social media posts this week announcements that this is the cash-only week. Posts calling on people not to use their credit cards, not to use Tap and Go to pay for stuff. Use only cash. And I have to say, good luck with that, when ANZ, for instance, recently said that some of its smaller branches would no longer hand customers cash over the counter. You've got to go to an ATM or whatever. And a woman called Taryn Compton, she got a shock from her own bank.
So I am getting some renos done at home and I needed $3,500 cash. So I went to the bank, but I didn't have my physical card. I thought, oh, that's fine, I'll just go to the teller. The teller proceeds to tell me they don't have cash in the bank anymore.
Joining me is Rowan Dean, editor of The Spectator Australia, culture war warrior with many scars, and host of Outsiders on Sky News every Sunday at 9 a.m. Rowan, explain this cash-only week to me. What's that about? And I don't know, should I care?
Well, I think you should care, Andrew. Obviously, I gave Dry July a go. I got today 4 and thought, yeah, okay, I've done my bit for Dry July. That's good. And I was looking for another cause, and this one popped up: cash only week. Now, Andrew, as you know, you mentioned that we've been doing this segment for many years together. And one of the things you will know is that I do love a good prop. I like to have a good prop. And your producers always say to me, look, just go and buy the prop. We'll put it on Andrew's tab. That's fine. So your producer kindly gave me your PIN number. And I got some props out this afternoon, quite a few actually, a few $100s of cash, actually a few $1,000s of cash, because I wanted to feel what it felt like again, Andrew. And it does feel good. So thank you very much. Obviously, it'll all be returned in full. No problem, he said, pocketing it. But the reality is, Andrew, cash equals freedom. Philosophically, let's get philosophical for a moment. It's the Culture Wars segment. Cash has always equaled freedom. The absence of cash gives you slavery, it gives you serfdom, it gives you debt, it gives you being indebted to an organization or an outfit or whatever. Cash in the pocket of the working man and woman has always symbolized freedom. That is the kind of paper, if you like, version of democracy. And we get rid of it at our peril, because once organizations or governments or banks, and they're all doing it now, say, oh, cash, who needs cash? That's a thing of the past. We don't need that anymore. What they are saying, Andrew, is we don't need freedom anymore. It's a thing of the past. Who needs freedom? Who needs individual choice? Who needs the ability to go out, feed yourself, put a roof over your own head, live as you want, live completely free of government intervention, of bureaucratic intervention, of debt, all these things. Cash gives you that ability. It's no surprise that the World Economic Forum want to get rid of cash, that governments want to get rid of cash, that bureaucracies want to get rid of cash. Sorry, Andrew.
Well, I'd say, Rowan, where I'd go with you on this, I mean, I've actually seen people with cash in their pockets at a racetrack, and at the end of the day, it's not there anymore. So, I'm not quite sure about that side of it. But
not very free
I will say
then.
this: China, right? They run that social credit scheme. If you say the wrong thing, if you're not loyal enough, if you're whatever, social transgressions, bad driver, they will limit your ability to pay for things like train tickets or airplane tickets and whatever, right? And if you've got cash, it is easier to subvert that kind of system, because hard cash will get you anonymity.
Absolutely.
Now, I know that's a thing for the criminals, but, in an increasingly oppressive society, think of the pandemic rules, I don't know.
Yes. Well, freedom comes at a price, and the price is, yes, cash might be laundered or criminals, etc. It encourages the racetrack behavior or whatever else. Freedom always comes at a cost. But the reality is, I wish it were only China that is imposing social credit system. But we've already seen the Canadian government, if you give these organizations the power, if we have a cashless society, then those financial transactions belong to someone else. They're not cash. So it's either a government or a bureaucracy or a bank or an internet company or someone else has your power to transact in a free and open market. Now, they abuse that power. That's the trouble. I never thought I would say this 5 years ago, but governments will, in the West, democratic governments will abuse that power. We've seen it in Britain, the way they've taken away it. Banks will take away the power of people like Nigel Farage, Toby Young, Lawrence Fox, others have had their bank accounts removed by banks. Governments in Canada removed the bank accounts of those who protested COVID restrictions. Governments and banks, who you've always thought were the pillar of our democracies, they have already, it only took a few years to show they will abuse that power if you give them that power. So we give up cash.
Rowan, you make a good
Andrew.
point. You make a good point, but I fear we're banging at the moon on this one. I think cash is disappearing. Rowan, I was talking earlier to Brendan Neal about his new book of essays, Praising Heretics. You've just alerted me earlier today to the latest of them. It's this woman. Have a listen.
I'm Lois Banner. I'm the author of Marilyn, The Passion and the Paradox, and I'm a professor of history and gender studies at the University of Southern California.
Now, this Lois Banner is reported in horror in the left-wing Daily Beast of having just disgusted, that's their word, disgusted a women's historians conference, caused the walkout, caused other female historians to hold an emergency listening session to discuss what to do about this racist, because this Lois Banner has just said from the stage that her career would have been better had she not been white, but a black lesbian. Do you share this horror?
Andrew, she is 100% correct, and the US Supreme Court have just come out and basically agreed with her. They have said that this idea of affirmative action, whereby if you will give special jobs, special access to universities, special access to careers, etc., so and so, if they happen to be of a certain identity politic, might be the color of their skin, might be their gender, might be the black lesbian who gets the job over the non-black, non-lesbian woman. And that's what this professor, 84-year-old woman, was referring to. She said that her career would have been better had she been a black lesbian. Now, the topsy-turvy world we live in, Andrew, Terry Gilliam from Monty Python said exactly the same thing about 5 years ago as a joke. I was going to do a new film. I should have done it as a black lesbian because I'd have got more money from the film corps or whatever. It is reality. And the Supreme Court have come down and said
he got
it
a
is
show
wrong.
cancelled. When he said that, he got a show cancelled. I tell you what, I love the woman's response to the criticism. She said, "You won't change my mind. I'm 84 years old." Good on her. I'm feeling that too. Not 84, but old enough to say, damn you all. Rowan Dean, heretic, thank you so much for your time.